Greetings and welcome back to the spread. We're still calling this the Nesson.com football picks video podcast. I'm Nesson.com's Mike Holt, joined as always, fortunately or unfortunately, by Ricky Doyle on my left, Andre Khatchaturian on my right. If you haven't been here before, what took you so long? We're going to go through the NFL games this week. We're going to make a couple picks. We'll start. Do we have a name for our three picks this week?
Oh, God.
The hat trick last week.
Yeah.
We probably should have thought of this before.
The triangle.
That's terrible. The triangle. Yeah.
Triangle offense.
That's the last out of you. But yeah, we'll roll with
How about the triple option?
Okay, fine.
Little football twist. Fine.
triple stamp and double stamp?
Triple option. Whatever it's called. Who cares? We're going to go through the best three games of the week. Then we'll give you some locks, some upsets, some prop bets. And then we'll get out here with show and tell. So without further ado, let's get to last week's record real quick. Andre, take it away.
Last week, neither of us cracked 500. Ricky and I led the way with 6-7-2. Mike trailing just behind with 5-8-2. 2 pushes. It's weird.
Yeah, we had both in a super contest.
Yeah. And overall records, Ricky's leading the way with a 41-48-3 record. I'm 2 games behind at 39-50-3. And Mike Cole sinking faster than an animal tied with an anvil. Why are you so angry? It's just picks. 32-57-3. You have a long way to go, Mike.
It's a bad joke.
Sorry, I don't know. I'm not a very funny person.
No, you're not. All right. Let's get into our picks for the week. Let's start Sunday afternoon. Minnesota coming off a bye. They're going to Philly to take on the Eagles. Eagles, not great last week. Vikings 2.5-point favorites here on the road against a rookie quarterback. Andre, start it off.
I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Okay.
I like the fact that the Eagles have to prepare a whole week against a quarterback that they already know very well, Sam Bradford. He was on the team last year. There's no secrets. I smell a letdown for the Vikings. They're not in their, comfy home environment. And, I know the Vikings have all these great defensive numbers and great defensive stats, but 4 of their 13 touchdowns have come via defense or special teams. And Carson Wentz doesn't make many mistakes. He has 1 pick. I don't see them having the same type of game that they've had earlier in the season. I'll take the Eagles.
Okay. I'm taking the Vikings. We're gonna clash heads right away on this this episode of the spread. And it boils down to me because of that defense. I think this is another week where the Eagles might struggle to protect Carson Wentz. We already saw the impact of losing Lane Johnson last week. If you look, his replacement gave up 5 pressures on 29 pass blocking snaps against the Redskins. Lane Johnson had given up 5 on 159 pass blocking snaps going into that game. Obviously, he's out with the 10-game PED suspension. I just think the Eagles have peaked. I think looking at their schedule from here on out, too, this could just be kind of the beginning of the end for them. Vikings 5-0 against the spread in addition to being undefeated, so I think everything's turning up Vikings here.
Yeah, 2.5 is a very intriguing number.
Yeah.
It feels like Vegas hasn't gotten a full grasp on the Vikings yet. It feels like this week.
It's one of those ones where I look at it, I'm like, am I missing something?
Yeah, I agree. Which is why we'll probably lose. But I'm also taking the Vikings here. Mike Zimmer has got a week off. Prepare for Carson Wentz. All right, Zimmer's defense is dating back to 2008 with Cincinnati. They've, in 5 of those 8 games, after a bye, his defenses have allowed 13 points or fewer. 10 points, 21 points, 10 points, 31 against Denver in 2012. That included a 105-yard kick return and then a late interception that put him at midfield. 12 points. The outliers, 39, 7, 13 points, 4 turnovers, 2 turnovers, 2 turnovers, 2 turnovers, 3 turnovers, 2 turnovers.
Okay, I'm looking at that list of opponents. You got Denver there, 31 points.
Did you not hear what I just said about Denver?
You said 2 outliers.
Did you not hear what I said about Denver?
Okay.
I said a 105-yard kick return.
Peyton Manning is on that team as well.
Yeah, what's your point?
My point is, you have Carson Wentz, also a good quarterback, doesn't turn the ball over. Those other teams that you shut down, they're all crappy defenses. You got the Chiefs, crappy offenses. You got the Chiefs, Alex Smith, Jay Cutler's in there.
We're not done. Pro Football Focus says last week Wentz was the least accurate passer. He went 11 of 22 against a terrible Washington defense. All right, and then this is also from Pro Football Focus. He was pressured on 48.1% of his dropbacks last Sunday compared to 24.3 entering Week 6. And this also speaks to what Ricky said about Lane Johnson, that offensive line might not being as good as we think. And again, you're going up against a team. This is ridiculous that we have to sit here and defend Minnesota's defense. Like the results speak for itself.
That's the thing. You say Carson Wentz is a good quarterback, and it's obviously
first of all, how do we know that?
It's a small sample size, and we haven't really seen him face a lot of pressure just yet. This is the best defense
All I'm saying is he doesn't turn the ball over, and he hasn't turned. He's only has one interception. We don't know that.
If he starts facing the pressure a little bit.
We do know that he has one interception this year.
Yeah. Okay.
More pressure. Okay, Sam Bradford.
But against a good defense,
the Eagles know everything about Sam Bradford. What is he going to do?
But this team isn't designed for Sam Bradford to win football games. That's not their game plan every week. It's not like they go out there and say, we're going to let Sam Bradford win this game. Whereas the Eagles, they've won, their 3 wins have been on, those are Carson Wentz games. And then the 2 games he hasn't played well, they haven't won. So I don't know.
So the Vikings, you're basically admitting the Vikings aren't going to move the ball then, down the field.
They're going to move the ball enough to cover by 3 points.
Okay. Ball control, time of possession. Winning with that defense. Look at last week. The Redskins running all over.
Yeah,
Let's not discredit that.
It's a home game for Philly, though. I like that. We should move on because,
Yep.
Because you're wrong.
Yeah, I'm not.
Because you're getting sick of being picked on by 2 people.
We'll see on Sunday we'll see on Sunday.
All right. Sunday afternoon, late Sunday afternoon. This game looked a lot better 7 days ago. New England Patriots. They're going to go take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers here are 7-point home underdogs. That's a lot, but it doesn't look like Ben Roethlisberger's going to play. It seems like that always happens for the Patriots.
It's disappointing too. I was looking forward to this game.
Yeah.
Not so much now.
No.
I thought it'd be a nice little litmus test for the 2 teams.
So does that mean you're leaning Patriots?
I'm leaning Patriots, yeah, and a lot of it stems from obviously 1, the injury to Roethlisberger, and 2, I could see the Patriots having their way with them through the year. I still think that Steelers defense, while it showed improvements for a couple weeks there, took a step back last week. I still think you can beat them through the air, and then obviously you can beat them on the ground. What we saw last week against the Dolphins, just giving up the big game there. So I could just see New England's offense continuing to roll this week. I expected a shootout, but now I don't know if the Steelers are going to hold up to their end of the bargain, obviously with the quarterback issue. So it's big, and it's a tough situation to be in, obviously going into that environment, but still like Patriots.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Ricky. Look, Landry Jones isn't a very good quarterback. Then Ben Roethlisberger's worth 5.5 points in that story. They were 2-point underdogs, and then it's like 7.5 now. Also, quick side note about explosive plays. Patriots.
Here we go. It took all of 5 minutes?
Yeah. Sorry. They've only allowed 20 this year, which is one of the lowest marks. They have the highest explosive play differential in the league.
I'm going to take these explosive.
The Steelers rely on explosive plays with Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and now they have nobody throwing them the ball. It's going to 7-point underdogs seems like a lot, especially at home. But I think the Patriots are just going to run over the Steelers in this one. Patriots haven't thrown a single pick this year. It's incredible. They've had random quarterbacks there too, with Brissett
looking at the Patriots' schedule, I'm shocked that they've given up so few explosive plays against offensive luminaries like the Dolphins, Texans,
AJ Green,
Bills.
DeAndre Hopkins. Cardinals are a pretty good team.
I'm not like they've been.
All you need is one guy to have an explosive play.
Thought, as you were talking about,
Sam Watkins.
Well, no, you don't. You need more than that against the Patriots because yes, they do a good job. Like I guess this speaks to your point. They do a good job of eliminating one player and usually, whatever. I'm not trying to take anything away from it. I just thought it was interesting. I'm with you guys. I'm taking the Patriots here. I stared at this thing for a good 5 minutes because you look at it right now, according to Sports Insights, 89% of the bets are coming in on the Patriots. When you see something like that, you're like, what are
Yeah.
Vegas usually wins, so not everybody can be right. But I guess in this case, it just feels like that is the case. I mean, for all the reasons you guys outlined, again, the Patriots play well against Pittsburgh, going 6-2 against the spread in its last 8 on the road against Pittsburgh. Tom Brady's numbers are ridiculous. His last 5 games against the Steelers, completed 71% of his passes, 17 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And again, you look at Jones, it just doesn't seem like Antonio Brown plays as well. Le'Veon Bell doesn't play as well. Just an interesting nugget. Jones's 3 career touchdown passes, all of them are to Martavis Bryant. He's suspended.
you go.
And one of those was an 88-yard touchdown pass, which is kind of fluky.
You know what I could see in this game, though? It's like the Steelers will be down 10. Landry Jones is like 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
And they'll just score a backdoor cover touchdown. And that's probably what's going to happen.
I hope I'm wrong, because I'd like to see this be a close game. It's just, it's a tough spot for the Steelers. Bummer. Maybe a little bit farther down the road.
Yes.
It's Sunday night, Seattle, Arizona, big NFC West matchup. Two teams coming off wins of varying impressiveness. I struggle like hell to make a pick here.
This was so hard.
Yeah, this gave me fits.
Cardinals 1 point favorites coming off of they just whooped up on the Jets. A big win for them on Monday night. Short week, playing Sunday night in prime time, 2 weeks in a row. Seattle coming off a nice win. I guess, you'll take it where you can get it. They looked good early. It almost gave it away to the Falcons, but that Falcons team is good. So again, a 1 point spread here favoring the Cardinals for now. What do you like, Andre?
I was looking at it and I was like, okay, Russell Wilson still hasn't had that premier performance this year, but then neither has Carson Palmer. So then I look at the running game. David Johnson leading the league in rushing, and I absolutely love the fact that at least they have that, and they're at home. I'm going to go with the whole Johnson factor. I could see them controlling time of possession. They have 9 interceptions defensively. I don't really like the Seattle Seahawks receiving targets. I think they're going to force a couple turnovers in the key juncture of the game. I'm just going to go with the home team here. I'm not very confident with it, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
No, I'm going in that same direction, kind of similar reasoning. Cardinals lead the NFL with 14 takeaways. Pretty opportunistic defense. I feel like they're kind of finding their stride a little bit. I know that's tough to say. I mean, when you beat the likes of the Jets, if you want to talk about those offensive luminaries that you were discussing earlier.
Right now, actually.
But yeah, I mean, you look at the turnover differential is also good. They have 7 interceptions, but 4 of those came in one game for Palmer, and the other 2 came from Drew Stanton when he was in relief for Palmer. Cardinals' run defense was a little bit better against the Jets this week. That was kind of an issue early on, but only surrendering 33 yards there. And also, we don't really know the status of Michael Bennett for the Seahawks. I mean, it sounds like he's going to play right now.
He's confident.
He says he's going to play, but if they lose him, that's a huge blow because, I mean, we're talking about an elite defensive end both against the rush and the pass. So yeah, I'm just erring on the side of the home team in prime time. 2 very similar teams, 2 teams that are going to be there. I mean, I think a few of us might have sat there and said that this is going to be your NFC Championship game. So this could be a preview right there. But I'm erring on the side of the team that seems to be finding its stride right now.
I just want to correct myself. David Johnson's leading the league in rushing touchdowns, not rushing yards.
Okay. Yeah, because your boy Zeke.
My boy Zeke is Anyway, continue.
All right. I got to make up games somehow, and I didn't even know you guys are taking this, but I'll take the Cardinals anyway. You talk about the schedule. The Cardinals, who have they beat? Well, they've beat the Tampa Bay Bucks. They got smoked by the Bills.
Bums.
I mean, we're talking as well.
Yeah.
They lost week 1 to New England, but their wins have come against. This is not good. Cardinals, 49ers, and Jets. Those aren't great teams. Excuse me, they are the Cardinals. Yeah. The Bucks, 49ers, and Jets. That's not great.
This is a show me game for me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. I think, and I like the idea of Russell Wilson finally having a breakout game. I think he's going to have to because, again, you look at that rushing attack. Christine Michaels played okay. They've done a decent job moving the ball on the ground, but again, at some point, Wilson's got to win you a game. Yeah. I think it's this week. I don't like the matchup for the Cardinals.
So you're going with Seahawks or Cardinals?
I'm going with Seahawks. What did I say?
You said the Cardinals at the beginning.
God damn.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Taking the Seahawks.
We're doing this early. It's still early.
Taking the Seahawks. I think Wilson figures it out. I also like the fact that, again, the Bennett thing is huge, but the Seahawks are among the top 5 rushing defenses, allowing just 75 yards a game. So I think if you take away that, and you try to make Carson Palmer beat you, are we totally sure that Carson Palmer is one of the better quarterbacks in the league? Especially as he gets towards the end of his career. He had that one great season last year. Yeah. Hasn't really bounced back this year. You just say it. I mean, I like that defense going up against the Cardinals' offense. So I'll take the Seahawks here.
They're really lacking that deep ball this year.
Yeah.
That offense is just
John Brown has been non-existent.
So I don't want to talk myself out of picking the Cardinals, but yeah.
You made some convincing points, but I'm going to stick with the home team.
Okay.
There's just something about
you've been persuaded, I think, 2 weeks already.
One time it worked, the other time it didn't.
So this could be the rubber match. Not a jump ship now.
Maybe next week. I don't know. Or maybe he'll come up with a good lock or upset.
Locks and upsets.
Speaking of them,
which way do you guys want to start?
I think last week we went with locks. So I think this week we should go with locks again.
All right, let's start with locks.
Yeah.
Andre, why don't you start?
I'm going to go with my lock. I think is my new favorite team in the NFL. The Buffalo Bills, man. Look at that.
Supplanting the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, no, the Browns are still up there. Look, didn't the Bills get rid of some offensive coordinator in week 2 or something?
Yep,
Ever since they got rid of that guy, they won 4 in a row, and they're the best rushing attack in the league. LaShawn McCoy is running over everyone. I think he's top 3 in rushing. Oh, who are they playing? I don't even know who they're playing. I'm playing the Dolphins. Dolphins? They're not going to win 2 in a row. No. Come on, let's be honest. And I think the Bills, I know the Bills, they have the second best turnover differential in the league. They have a good defense, Rex Ryan defense going up against Ryan Tannehill. They're good at protecting the ball. Tyrod Taylor only 2 interceptions this year. And, the Dolphins have allowed the second most rushing yards, and they're going up against that Bills rushing attack. So, Bills, easy.
I was close to making that my upset, actually, because I think
the Dolphins.
I don't know if I'm going to pick the Dolphins, but I just like that the Dolphins now that they actually have an offensive line. I think I myself certainly undersold the impact of having that offensive line healthy. This game's in Miami. I'm just saying. LaShawn McCoy dinged up, little knee injury.
Speaking of offensive lines,
something to keep an eye on.
Speaking of offensive lines, though, Michael, Bills. Second in the league in sacks. They're going to hit Tannehill in the mouth.
I was waiting for it.
Did you see Drew Brees got hit in the mouth? He was bleeding. It was great.
They hit you in the mouth.
They still won.
And they did. They're playing the Panthers, though.
The Panthers stink. Ricky, go ahead with your lock.
I am going to take the Ravens over the Jets. And I say this as somebody who sat here week after week and said, I'm not a believer in the Ravens. I'm even less of a believer now that they've lost 3 in a row.
That's how bad the Jets are.
So this really just speaks to the situation that the Jets are in right now. Look, first and foremost, Jets 0-5 in the last 5 head-to-head matchups, 1-9 against the spread in the last 10. Make it out of whatever you want of that. That doesn't really matter to me. I'm looking at the Jets' rushing attack, which suddenly looks like crap because they ran Matt Forte into the ground over the first 2 weeks of the regular season. You can't do that when your running back's about 45 years old. That's exaggerating a little bit, but in running back terms. And the Ravens have the best run defense in the NFL right now in terms of yards allowed per game. And Ryan Fitzpatrick just absolutely put on a clinic on how not to play quarterback in the NFL. It's pretty bad when you eventually have to turn to Geno Smith just to save face, really, in that game.
Todd Bowles says they're sticking with him.
They're sticking with them, for better or worse. But, yeah, there's a lot of issues going on, particularly on the offensive side of the ball with the Jets. And the Ravens, for all the issues that they have, particularly the injury issues, 2 years in a row they're getting ravaged by injuries. They still have a pretty good defense. Good enough to stop the Jets, I think. So I like that as a pick 'em, even though it is the Ravens going on the road. I still like that.
I just want to play devil's advocate. I completely agree with you. But Jets are 5 losses, all against playoff teams from last year. They've had a rough schedule.
That Ravens team, so many injuries.
Ravaged.
What else is new?
Terrell Suggs on Sunday now, just adding to it. But
that's another one I'm gonna have to think long and hard about before making my weekly picks. It's easy, or it's hard to bet against with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
It's also there's a lot of looking at the slate this week in terms of picking an upset game. It's tough because there's a lot of low spreads.
And that was, as I get to my lock, that was what I was gonna say. This week was so hard to do lock and upset.
Yeah.
For my lock, I don't feel good about this one at all. This is in terms of locks, this is what's the opposite of like a real strong lock? Is there like a lesser lock, like one of those little tiny ones?
One you'd not a lock, you'll
pick open very easily. Yeah. This isn't a Brinks truck we're talking about.
You're not gonna find this at
this isn't
maximum
the one
security penitentiary.
They don't strap this one on the outside of hell in a cell.
You don't need jaws of life to get this thing open.
But I'm taking the Giants in Cheerio, London, to cover a 2.5 point spread against the Rams. The Rams defense, weird. Like the last couple weeks, the Rams have been in games, winning games with their offense as opposed to their defense. That's because injuries are an issue. Tremaine Johnson probably still out. LaMarcus Joyner suffered a forearm injury. That secondary's banged up. Not a great matchup when you're going against Odell Beckham and crew. Even then, that front seven's still a little dinged up. Robert Quinn up in the air. So I like that. The Lions, they did a pretty good job offensively last week against the Rams. I think the Giants could do the same thing. And Giants defense actually playing pretty well, especially against the run, which is where you would think the Rams might try to make their money here. With Todd Gurley, who actually showed signs of life last week. But let's see here. Giants defense allowing 5.4 yards per play, 8th in the NFL, and 3.5 yards per rush attempt, 6th in the NFL, which is It's really impressive that they've been able to do that without having any pass rush whatsoever.
No
I sat
pass.
here last week and made fun of their pass
No
rush.
mouth punching going on there.
No mouth.
So-
Yeah.
So I think this is just an ugly, dirty game
Pillow
that they win late. So
I like Case Keenum. Did you see what he
Yeah,
did
he
last
played
week?
well,
19
yeah.
consecutive. That
and
was
they
incredible.
still almost lost.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's a weird game. I went with the Rams in this one, but
I think the Giants. Yeah.
it's kind of weird too. The Rams, one of the top 3 teams in defensive hurries, but they're in the bottom in sacks. It's like they're getting to the quarterback, but not.
He's right there. It's
He's
like a
right
dog
there,
on a
not
string.
getting
You got to pick it up and they yank it right away from you.
All right, upsets. Ricky, kick us off.
I'm liking the Chargers getting 6 points against the Atlanta Falcons, who you could argue that they were robbed last week in that pass interference call against Seahawks, but I just think the way to beat the Falcons is through the air, and don't look now, but Phillip Rivers playing like an elite quarterback. He's really good, despite you speaking of the teams that get ravaged by injuries.
Yeah.
They seem to have issues year to year. Happening again this year, but Phillip Rivers kind of making up the ground over there. I think as long as Melvin Gordon can hang on to the football, as long as that defense can play a little bend, don't break like they did against the Broncos, Rivers can do enough offensively. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game, but ultimately I like the Chargers. If you're going to give me 6 points,
They can
I
easily
like
be
the
6-0.
Chargers in a shootout. That's another thing.
They can be 6.
They could just finish
What's
games.
their record?
2-4,
Yeah,
but
you
they're 4
can't be
losses.
Easily 6-0.
Easily 6-0.
No, you
All 4 of
can't
those
be-
losses. They blew a huge lead against the Chiefs. They gave up a big late
And that's,
touchdown against the Cardinals.
that's what separates good teams from bad
Right,
teams.
that's why they're not easily 6-0.
okay.
So I have a hard time jumping on board.
All
with
of
that.
those games, it came down to one play,
And they blew it.
and they blew it.
because they're not as good as other teams. So they can't easily we're arguing over semantics here, but it's just ridiculous to say they could easily be 6-0 when they're 2-4.
In the Saints game, they gave up a late touchdown.
If it was bad luck.
And the Raiders, Jack Del Rio 4th and 2. Yeah, let's throw a Hail Mary, and they get it. They could be 6-0.
They guess the oh my god.
It could be.
Okay, they can be 4-2.
All right, yes, that makes a lot more sense, and they could easily be 6-0.
That's the
despite
AFC
being
West
2-4.
first place team, 4-2.
Oh my god, go ahead. Upset.
Upset? I have to pick one after all of that yelling. Oh man.
You
Who's
weigh
my-
yourself
Oh,
up.
the Browns! They're my upset
right.
every week. They're
There they
the
are.
upset. I think they're going to go out and beat the Bengals. It's
Backdoor
basically-
cover of the week last
is
week.
one of
That
the-
was awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying this is an upset. They're not just going to cover. They're going to win. Upset. Listen, Cody Kessler is slowly putting on a very impressive season despite his horrible record. 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 65% completion percentage. If he had any offensive line help, maybe those numbers would be better. He's getting sacked like crazy this year. He got sacked 6 times last week. And, the Bengals defense pretty mediocre. And the Browns, again, top 5 team in terms of explosive plays. I like them to win this game.
Okay. I like the Raiders 1 point. Road underdogs in Jacksonville. You mentioned to me the weather last
How's that
week.
an upset?
Oakland was kind of crappy.
It was very crappy.
Whatever. I am playing by the rules. Sunny and 75 this weekend in Jacksonville. I think that favors a Raiders team that wants to move the ball up and down the field. Raiders 9th in points off turnovers this season. Ran into a bad matchup last week against Kansas City, a team that protects the football, 4th best turnover ratio in the NFL. A little bit of a better matchup this week against Jacksonville, who's not as good. They have the 6th worst turnover ratio in the NFL. So,
But they allow 4.8 yards per play defensively.
Whatever.
4th best.
Oakland takes the ball away, finds a way to win.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
might
I
have
said,
to
1
change that
point.
pick.
It's cheating.
Like I
but
have Jaguars.
whatever.
I might have to listen to you change it. I like the Raiders usually, and you just really convinced me again.
Reggie Nelson.
I love David Amerson and Reggie Nelson. Great corners in Oakland.
You love Reggie.
Somehow they've allowed most yards per play defensively. I don't know how they're going to hunker down later in this. They're going to be
I love
really
this
strong
team, but
second half.
They played poorly.
Nah, I just like their.
this team is
Khalil Mack's going to come and get some sacks.
It's like the Browns.
These guys
I love
are
your
great, but they
infatuation
played
with the
like
Browns.
crap.
Love
Yeah.
this team, but they suck.
Hey,
It's like such great logic.
Browns might be the best 0-6 team in NFL history.
Andre's power rankings: Browns, Raiders, Chargers.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. All right, let's get to some prop bets.
Ricky
some
never gave us
parlays.
upset. Oh,
Hey,
Yeah,
Chargers,
hey,
yeah.
you kidding me, guys?
Come on, man.
All right. Chargers,
Andre
yeah.
starts with the parlay.
I'm going to go with a lot of overs this week. Chargers, Falcons, 2 explosive
Wow.
quarterbacks. It's going to be over 53. Redskins, Lions, 2 really, just quarterbacks that have, Cousins and Stafford can put up numbers. That's over 48.5. I like that. Browns and Bengals, over 45.5. You got, 2 big play offenses. A.J. Green's going to, and two defenses that really are non-existent. A.J. Green will have a couple big touchdowns in this game, but Pryor will also have a couple big touchdowns as well. And
touchdowns for everyone.
Like Bucks and 49ers under 47. There's two of the worst offenses in the league in terms of yards per play. So 31 and 32.
Yeah. You're off the Bucks now?
No, I think they're going to win the division.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ricky.
We kind of already touched on all the 3 games I got, but Chargers-Falcons, the over, I love that. We already went over that. Vikings over the Eagles for the reasons I mentioned earlier. We didn't even get into the Sam Bradford revenge factor.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can sit here and say they know him, or he's going for revenge.
Or the Eagles are saying revenge for screwing up our season last week. We're going to shut you down.
It doesn't matter. Take the storyline you like. Vikings are winning that game. And then I like the Bills over the Dolphins. Your lock over there. I just think the Bills are going to run all over them. It's a shaky run defense in Miami, and the Bills, they're running up a storm.
Mike?
Scampering all over the place, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling.
Doing a parlay, futures parlay. These are all teams to win the division. Dallas even, Minnesota minus 225, Atlanta minus 350, and New England minus 1,200. I'm going to just parlay. I think all of those divisions are a wrap already.
Can you actually do that?
I don't know. I think so.
If you can, that's really good.
That'd be 100 to win 302.
Although I could see the Vikings collapsing.
Yeah, I could too, but it just seems like it's a smart,
what's looking really good is your Titans pick last week.
We were just talking about that earlier, that I wish I kind of put a little ching-a-lang on that.
Yeah.
One thing to watch too, I almost made this my pick, but it's not really that big. I should have kept the props open, or the odds open. I like Kansas City in the AFC West. I think that's
what you had going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs. Yeah.
They look good. So
the thing about
the value wasn't good enough for me to make.
That's a weird that division's still like trying to figure them out.
Yeah.
Because each of those teams has certain vulnerabilities. But
all of them can win it, too.
And week to week, like the Raiders, for instance, like 1 week they'll look awesome, and then the next thing you know, they're laying an egg like they did last week.
That's why I like
Broncos have issues.
The Broncos big this week. I think there's going to be some sort of overreaction. I think they kind of bounce back.
Yeah.
It was a short week last week, too. Tough spot, so I don't know. All right, let's do show and tell before we get out of here.
Woo. Ricky,
why don't you start?
I just pulled this out of my car. It's a cowboy hat.
Why do you have that in your car?
I don't know. I bought it over at Dollars and things. So whatever that place is at the Arsenal Mall. I went in for a slinky.
Is this for the
National
Cowboys?
Slinky Day. This is for the Cowboys. I'm buying into the Cowboys. Particularly that offensive line. They're just bullying people around, flattening guys like pancakes. So we can sit here and talk about their quarterback situation until we're blue in the face. We know I'm a Dak Prescott guy, and you have your certain philosophies on how you think they should approach the situation, although I think you're coming around to my side of the fence.
I like both of them. Anybody. Throw Mark Sanchez with that line.
But it might not even matter because it's all about that offensive line, which is one of the biggest weapons in football right now. All about the Cowboys right now.
Mike.
Jumping on the bandwagon.
All right, we got a little. Let's see here.
Ooh.
I got a box of Joe. A little coffee. Make a coffee run for go off your Cowboys pick. How about the Green Bay Packers? Holy moly.
The other side of the coin last week.
They could use a big old box of Joe to wake them up. I think this is a tough spot, too. I don't love this matchup. They're playing Chicago this week. It's a short week. They look like hell on offense. They don't look great defensively. And they're banged up. Injuries. Every year. They got to figure out, I don't know, how does this happen every single year? At some point, you got to look at what your system is.
This is the third team we've mentioned that has, they got to do something with the training staffs. The year to year, it's an issue.
That's the only thing you can think
of, the Chargers,
right?
the Packers.
The Packers
why are you guys cramping up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
God,
you look at it.
Holding some people's feet to the fire on the training staff.
You look at it. You got James Starks. They had one of the cornerbacks. I forget which one. It might have been Randall, or Gunter. One of the two got hurt in a walkthrough on Friday or Saturday. It couldn't. Are you kidding me? Their top 3 cornerbacks are down. They're without. Eddie Lacy might not play Thursday. They had to go out and trade for Niall Davis, and I don't think that's going to be a shot in the arm. So I'd give them a little box of Joe, try to wake them up before Thursday night. Because if they lose on Thursday night to the Bears at home, favored by, it's going to be about 10 points when the game starts.
See you later, Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy, just get his out of here. I would fire him in a heartbeat. It's more or less like a bye. You're going to have that extra few days. I'd fire him. There's no way they do it because the Packers just don't fire head coaches in the middle of the season, but you got to shake something up. I don't know how you can sit here and watch this for the rest of the season. They got to figure something out and figure it out fast.
Yep. Oh, and mine. This is a light bulb that recently doesn't work anymore in my lamp, and
Is that like a blue light?
Yeah, why?
I think it's because it's
Foggy?
broken. It's just foggy and
Done.
it's like the
Don't
Toronto
worry,
Blue
boys.
Jays. Because listen, they had 10 home runs in the ALDS, and now they have 1 home run, only 3 runs in 3 games, which is really bad. You know who else light is out is the New York Jets. Oh man, Todd Bowles. This is like the idea, like right? He's run out of ideas on how to make this team better, and it doesn't turn on. It's like the lights are out in New York. Ryan Fitzpatrick has
Lights
10
are out on Broadway.
interceptions and no touchdowns in the second half this year. How do you do that? Even if someone tries, they can't do that. It's really bad. That was an accident.
Wow.
What did you think was going to happen?
I mean, is Stone Cold Steve Austin come walking through that door now? The glass is shattered. For Christ's sakes.
All right, that's it.
That's a wrap.
This is the spread.
Let's get out of here.
We'll be back next week, assuming we don't
Such
get
a menace to society.
fired, kicked out of this room. Thanks for joining us, I guess. See ya.
Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia.